Hi guys, welcome to my first sit down video on the In Real Life channel. I hope you're enjoying this channel. I think it's a super idea by the lovely Becca and I'm going to get stuck straight in. So this video is about why I chose to bottle feed both of my boys. It's quite a taboo subject and I do often feel that bottle feeding is quite frowned upon. I'm not against breastfeeding at all. I think it's wonderful and, I think it's hard work and a lot of people that do it deserve a lot of credit. So I'm definitely not against that at all. It's just why bottle feeding was better for us. But I just thought I'd put this video out there because I do feel like a lot of the time it's kind of shamed to bottle feed. I even remember actually when I went back in, when I had Noah, they left my placenta in, so a week after, not the full placenta, just parts of it, and they didn't realise. A week after, I hemorrhaged at home and had to go back into hospital to have a procedure to get it removed. And I remember the consultant afterwards, the woman consultant, saying, "Are you bottle or breastfeeding?" And I said, "Oh, bottle." She said, "Oh no, you need to get that baby back on the breast," which to me is quite insulting. Like, I was in hospital because they effed up basically, and for her to say that was actually quite rude, and I was really grumpy. And I do think that's kind of the thought of a lot of people, like, you should be breastfeeding your child, why aren't you doing it? Like, as if I'm, by bottle feeding my child and giving them formula, I'm giving them some kind of toxic substance. And I think fed is the best option for your baby. If you're feeding your baby, no one should have an opinion on it. As long as your baby is well and happy and you are well and happy, then that is all that matters. So my first reason for bottle feeding was that we could share the load. John was very keen, especially when we had Noah. He's always been very hands-on. He's not afraid of changing a nappy. And definitely feeding was a process that I certainly wanted to share. We were quite lucky with Noah that he was born just before Christmas, and John has time off at work at Christmas. So we had about 4 to 5 weeks off when Noah was born. So it was really important for him to be able to help out in those times as well and to be able to do the night feeds. There was no way he was getting out of those ones. So it was really important to us that he could kind of share the load and feed. And this was definitely a decision we came to mutually with both boys. And we didn't even, I don't even think we discussed it with Patrick. We just knew we was going to bottle feed as we had with Noah. And so it wasn't just me deciding, even though I'm pretty sure John would have gone with whatever I decided, because feeding, if you decide to breastfeed, obviously it's solely the woman. So he would have definitely supported any kind of decision I had. But it was a decision we came to mutually. But yeah, we just wanted to share the load, and I think it's quite important for dads to be able to bond as well, because sometimes they can feel left out, especially if they're, working long hours and things. I think it's nice for him to be able to have that one-to-one time with Patrick where he can just kind of feed him and bond. My second reason why I chose to bottle feed, I say it was we, chose to bottle feed, was because just when we're out and we're feeding, I think there is definitely, the same way there is a bit of a taboo about bottle feeding, I think breastfeeding is sometimes kind of seen as a bit, I think some people truly see it as a bit seedy, which is bizarre because you're feeding your child. It's exactly what your body was designed to do. But some people definitely, give the looks and things like that. And when we were out, I didn't want to have to put up with that, which is, there's a lot of things about normalising breastfeeding. And I do think that's true. I think people have, a lot of opinions about it. And I didn't want to have to deal with sitting out, feeding Patrick or feeding Noah and getting looks from, other women, other men, or, any comments. I just wanted to be able to feed my boys. That being said, like I referred to back in my previous reason, you get comments about bottle feeding too. It's not just breastfeeding that people, make smart comments about. I got it for bottle feeding my boys. So you don't always get to kind of miss out on that, but yeah, that was a reason. I just wanted to be able to go out and say, even if I was busy when we were out, that John could feed the boys, or John could take the boys out and he could feed them as well. It wouldn't be an issue. I wouldn't always have to go, which again is really important, and about sharing the load too. Another really important reason for us was when I returned back to work, I kind of didn't want any more hassle than necessary for the boys, that they would have to transition from breast to bottle. I didn't want them, I know you could express and kind of eliminate that worry, but I think transitioning from breast to bottle is quite a big transition for any baby. And I know, working in childcare myself, there have been, children do struggle with that, and it is a big change for them. And I didn't want what could be, now touch wood, Noah was really good when I returned to work, and I hope Patrick will be too, but I didn't want it to add any kind of unnecessary stress to them. It could be a lot of stress with changes in their routine, so I didn't want to then add another change in their routine, which, oh, suddenly you've got to get used to it. And that would be a worry for me. If I knew maybe they couldn't take from a bottle and they were relying on me and I was at work, I would be stressing about it, and that's not something that you want, because I think when you return to work anyway and leave your child, you're always a bit kind of on edge for a while, and it's always a bit of a, so you don't talk about that subject when you're on maternity leave because you push it right to the back of your mind. And the last reason why I chose to bottle feed was, this was a reason more with Patrick than Noah. Noah was a big baby, so we never really had to worry, but Patrick, as you may well or may not know, was in intensive care when he was born. And he was born prematurely, so it was very important to be able to keep an eye on the amount he was feeding to make sure he was thriving. And with bottle feeding and formula feeding, it was a lot easier to do that. Now, I know you can express and do it that way, but it was a lot quicker and a lot more of an instant way to see and make sure I didn't have to wait. You know, if I was breastfeeding, I might have had to wait till he was being weighed to find out if he was drinking the right amount. But with formula feeding, I could see it there instantly in the bottle that, yeah, he drank 3 ounces, and you know, it was a big relief for me and a big comfort for me, and it gave me something to aim for. You know, when they were telling me, okay, he needs to be drinking this amount before he can go home, I could physically see it on the bottle. I wasn't having to wait days, so that was a real big help while he was in intensive care. And so that's why we chose to bottle feed our boys. Like I said, I think it is kind of a taboo to bottle feed. You're kind of not supposed to talk about it because it's not the done thing and it's not what's recommended by whoever. And I think you should just completely ignore what people say and completely ignore advice. You will get pressured. There is so much pressure to breastfeed your children, and I find it a little bit obnoxious. It kind of irritates me a bit, because I just think, do what you want for your children, and if your children are happy, they're fed, they're comfortable, then that is all that matters. And I don't think anybody should have the right to tell you how to feed your child and what method, whether you express, whether you bottle feed, whether you combine feed, whether you formula feed, whether you breastfeed. Whatever you do is your choice, and as long as it works, and I think that's the main thing. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Please stay tuned for the collaboration that's going up on Sunday with all the girls, and make sure you stay tuned for my next video, which will be up 2 weeks today, because I upload every other Friday. So I hope you enjoy, like and subscribe, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye bye.